Well, to tell you the truth, this guy, Donald Trump, really had me perplexed for quite some time because at one side of him, I recognized he's in construction. I can relate that to that. Now, I was in accounting in construction, and I did work on some large projects, not in New York. Well, actually, a million years ago in New York. That was back in the very early 80s with, Hart's Mountain, the Stern family. They're big in construction, obviously. I know Trump knows who the hell they are. But yeah, I mean, I worked on big projects down in Florida, outside the west side of Disney. But I don't, I could not figure this guy out. I could tell you one thing, honestly. I almost hate to say this because it's almost like putting a barb on anybody I've ever known that has some money. But I could tell you, pretty much anybody that's got money, they play philanthropy. They're full of it. They don't really care, and it's a big game to for public image, or it's a tax deduction, or it's not only a tax deduction of philanthropy, but also it's got other angles to it that helps their business. And Trump must be playing this a little bit somehow, but and I know there's no such thing as a flawless person. I don't want to be critical of this guy, but this guy really is the real deal. He had me. I can't. I know if you really dig down to it, some Christians will probably have go ape over some stuff he might have done in his personal life. But the one thing I always liked about people like that in business, they make stuff out of bricks and mortar. See, I can't stand accounting just for freaking numbers, just for like, oh, the financials are. It's always like I want to know that it's something's going on that's creating something. And the accounting is a measurement of what's going on, a picture, a snapshot. That's I can never get into accounting just for accounting's sake or just for numbers' sake. It had to have something behind it, material. And bricks and mortar and construction was something I always got into. Um, Now this guy Trump, man, he really had me fooled a couple times. Well, first off, I was correct in my assumption about him being a bullshit artist and it's slickster because I just could not jive the way he was with the Clintons for 20 years, and then all of a sudden changing in the last couple of years, being against him. Because he used to say that Bill Clinton was the greatest president we ever had. He played golf with him many times, totally buddy with him at the weddings and social events, and Hillary Clinton was the greatest senator, and all of a sudden he changed. Well, you know what? Obviously, what's going on, he was bullshitting them back then. I would thought maybe he was bullshitting back, the last couple of years, but I don't think so because, it's looking like he's pissing off all the top Republicans who are all in the clique. It's Tammany Hall, man. I mean, the whole damn freaking Republican and Democratic establishment's Tammany Hall, with the Clintons being the worst of them. Trump actually is the real deal, man. And he's really putting his life in danger by running for president. I hate to say that. Man, I hope nothing happens to him. But, the guy is legit. It's like it took me a while because, I've been around. I never seen anybody anywhere near his kind of. I never met personally billionaires. I mean, I seen their numbers, of course, and I heard people that talk to them that I talk to, so secondhand that type of stuff. But I knew about people that had millions and stuff, and they got their business personality. And their business personality can be very polite. And underneath it, it's like, yeah, give me the money. Make sure the deal is going to be tough on my side, and it's their personal life can be totally different from their business life. You could think like it's not the same person. You could think, and a lot of people would say, yeah, he's great when he's at home, he's playing golf or whatever he's doing, fine. Hey, he likes to play piano, maybe like blank fine or something. It's a different person. And a lot of people, even in the family, will say, I never worked for my father, I never worked for my uncle, I never worked for, whatever, my granddad, or whatever the hell, whoever he is, I never worked for him a million years because they know how they are in business, in personal life. But this guy looks like the real deal with patriotism. And I find that absolutely astounding. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. I know you're going to hate me for this, but well, it's amazing when you got a lot of refugees coming over Europe. Everybody's like complaining about the refugees, but you got to remember what the hell Israel's been worried about for the last umpteen years. And I know all the propaganda against Israel, but the guy I respect a lot too, Benjamin Netanyahu, man. I respect him a great deal because he was actually a soldier fighting the enemy for his country. And you could say, but I mean, that's one thing I guess Trump lacks, but he does have that military, the New York Academy. And I tell you, I think that's probably what got him in with the the patriotism ingrained in him. It's a good thing his dad did that, man. I tell you one thing, because, and I could see that his sons are, part of the Trump package. His sons are very patriotic. They're Second Amendment people all the way. They're bright. They're quick on their feet. The daughters are. The wife is. I mean, everybody is. The whole family is. He kind of reminds me of the Kennedys, except better. Back when JFK was the president. That's what he reminds me of. Tell you the truth. He's not exactly a Republican, but yet JFK wasn't exactly a Democrat. Mm-hmm. We got shafted with a Democrat when Lyndon Baines Johnson came on board. A mean mofo. I think Trump actually. I know people identify the Republican Party with the Bush, the Bushes and the Romneys and Iran Contra and all that other stuff that's like fascistic. I mean, Prescott Bush was all associated with the bank that funded the Nazi Party. Trump is not associated with that at all. I think Trump is actually a guy that's like, I think actually, I don't really call him, it's kind of weird. I don't really fit in conservative that much. I don't know if I'm really liberal, though. I really think, people should do what the hell they want. I mean, the government does to stick their nose out of everybody's business. I think that the big fear, though, is probably with a lot of people working in government. They don't want Trump in there because he's going to play the game just like on the show The Apprentice. You're fired. We don't need this. We don't need that. I mean, I could see where the department, I know it sounds good, the Department of Education, but the Department of Education hasn't done anything for education in the United States. Just made a bunch of freaking rules. It's Marxist freaking, that's what that is. It's a Marxist organization whereby NGOs bring about draconian policies through the government education system. Yeah, if Trump got rid of the whole entire Department of Education, we wouldn't miss it at all. And the Department of Energy established under Nixon, hang it up. And I never really understood where Trump was on the gun issue, but I think his sons are very much pro Second Amendment. But Richard M. Nixon, supposedly a staunch conservative, he hated guns. That was another thing. Trump is openly saying he's for the right to self-defense and all that, the right for people to have weapons. It's an individual right. That's a biggie because, that's almost like an acid test for a politician, in my opinion. Like if a politician comes out extremely pro-Second Amendment, what that means is they're for individual rights. It kind of goes along with everything else. It's like when you're very strong pro-Second Amendment, it's not just a gun thing. It's almost like an ideological thing whereby the government shouldn't have say-so in your everyday life. I found that out. I mean, it kind of goes all the way across the board. And the word liberal, I'm going to tell you, the word liberal is actually a good word when you look at it in the Webster's dictionary and you don't look at the connotation whereby liberal is a social engineer who's dictating to you every way everybody should be and everybody should be acting and all this kind of stuff. Everybody should be behaving, numbering people, classifying people, regulating everything they do. That's a social dictator. That's what has now been known as a liberal. And, the word doesn't really mean that. Liberal is actually a good word. Liberal means, hey, you do what the hell you want, man. And I'm all for that. See, that's why I don't really fit in with the Christian right. Because the Christian right is trying to dictate morality to people. Like a lot of times, right? And I'm like, You know what? You can't do that. It's almost like the same damn thing with prohibition. I don't drink, right? I don't drink. So if they had prohibition out today and they said, "Oh, nobody can drink anymore. You can't have sale or manufacture of alcohol," it wouldn't affect me in the least. Okay, but and I also don't smoke any weed. But you know what? I can tell you, I think everybody should. Well, it's illegal to drink now, but it wasn't at one time. But I think everybody should be. You should be legal to drink. It should be legal to smoke weed. I mean, maybe even some other kind of drugs that aren't like ridiculously bad. And do what the hell you want. I mean, it's your body. I mean, for crying out loud, you can't legislate morality. So I mean, you could preach to somebody that's bad, it's going to hurt you and all that. Fine, do that. You could do that, but you can't make people be moral. You know, and that's almost like what goes on in Iran. You got to wear that hijab thing, whatever, on your head, and come on. I mean, what is this? I mean, I don't want to compare Christians to Sharia law or nothing, but it's not. Oh, I guess at one time it was like Sharia law. If you go back to the Inquisition, hey, that was as bad as Sharia law, right? They're freaking doing all kinds of weird stuff to you, putting you on the rack because, hey, you couldn't break their bones. It was illegal to break their bones. It was illegal to cut you. So they put you on a rack and stretched you out. So technically, that was fine by the book. Ugh. Yeah, they were really wonderful. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like the word liberal is not a dirty word. It's just that they co-opted the word to mean, it's something else. It's like, I don't know. I mean, he would call me libertarian, so they get that new word, libertarian. But, I don't even believe in abortion. I mean, freaking, hey, you wind up having an accident or something. Oh, well, you got a baby. Too bad, because you got the rights of the unborn. I mean, it's not that I'm like super holy or nothing like that, but that's just how I think. The people that get victimized, I mean, that's a life. Too bad. It's not like I'm being super Christian about it. I'm being common sense about that. But I can tell you, I think, and at one time I saw Trump say partial birth abortion was okay. I don't know where this guy really stands exactly. I do know where Hildebeest stands, though. Woo. I want everything. I want the world, and I want to shit on everybody. I want to blow the place up, and but I think Trump is actually legit. He kind of really threw me off the freaking loop there a bunch because, man, whatever he's been saying the last 2-3 years was not jiving with. I mean, not everything. I mean, I know he's talking about unfair trade with the USA. He's been consistent on that, yeah, but he hasn't been consistent on a lot of other stuff. And I was like, but you know what the deal was? He was bullshitting back then. That's what I'm thinking. Because he's been damn consistent the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah, he's probably the real deal, man. Personally, I couldn't figure out why he'd run because it's almost like, it's almost like taking a guy that owns a chain of restaurants and you want to get a job as the busboy, waiting on helping the waiters and waitresses clean the tables. I mean, that's kind of like what it is going from where he is now to being president. I mean, he's not going to have a lot of inside deals. He's not going to be able to play that game. You're all against him, man. And it'd be cool if he cleans house with Tammany Hall in Washington, D.C. Because, I guess this is the first time that the presidential election has not been co-opted by both powers. And it's becoming obvious because the Republicans are trying to funnel money away from his campaign and give it to all the other Republicans and make sure he isn't funded. But being that Hillary can't even walk up damn stairs anymore practically, and every time you get a bunch of flash bulbs in front of her face with the photographers, she starts doing bobblehead. I don't think she's going to, well, I don't know. I know they're going to try to cheat and stuff like that. I don't really know what the hell's going to happen, man. I don't know what's going to happen. But I got to say, I think this guy is legit now, man. Man, he sure has freaking had me flip-flopping back and forth a bunch of times because he's like, well, one thing I was right about, he is slick. He's slick. Because all that good stuff he said about the Clintons way back when, he was pulling her chain. He was pulling her chain. I thought maybe he was pulling our chain later on because he was inside with the Clintons. And I obviously, I don't want to be critical of the guy, but I know you could probably dig up some dirt on him someplace where, parties and crazy shit that went on and Whatever, man. So what? More power to you, man. Actually, that stuff that Bill does, I ain't even against that kind of crap. Bill Clinton. I really the only thing I got a beef with Bill Clinton is he's like a Marxist. It's like destroying the middle class. He doesn't give a rat's butt. You know what I mean? But I think the Trumper does give a damn about the middle class. He does. He really does. Problem is, he's one guy, and you can't put everything in one guy. All your faith in one guy. That's just how it is. But actually, like I said, I respect guys like him more than the people who are just numbers crunchers. Like Bloomberg, he's got the terminal that freaking tells you all the freaking financials. Or some people like Steve Jobs. I wasn't too keen on him. I don't give a damn about iPhones. When Trump makes a building, it's going to be there for decades, right? It could be there for centuries if you want, if you do renovations. How long is an iPhone going to be around? How long is an Apple computer going to be around? How long is Windows XP going to be around? Well, with me, it might be around another century because I'll probably be using XP for the next 50 years at least, because I don't really give a damn. Really? Come on. It's just for adding up numbers. What do you think I'm playing games on this shit? Crying out loud. Anyway, but one thing I really, I was looking at something when he was talking to some congressional committee one time about construction that was going on next across the street from the UN building and also about the UN building. Man, this guy knew his crap. I was like, I was not familiar with what the hell he was saying because I was like, that was not the kind of construction I was familiar with at all. But he knew his stuff, man. He does know his business. He's sharp. He's like a PhD in construction in New York. And obviously he has to be. And some people say, well, he could have made just as much money putting his money down in his index fund what he got from his daddy. Well, maybe that's true. I don't know if that's true or not. But say it was true. But the thing is, he didn't do that. He built stuff. That's what other people do. I'm rich. I just index fund it. I reinvest it. you know. What does Soros do? Just he doesn't build. Well, I know Trump has been in deals with Soros, and Soros kind of saved him on, I think, the Chicago Tower with a mezzanine loan, which is kind of like an extra loan that higher interest, and it's on top of the existing construction loan, construction line. And I know he's been in with Soros on some things, but I don't know. You can't avoid it, man. But I can tell you, I think the guy really, I'm convinced now he is patriotic. It's just that, when you're in with that group, you're dealing with the devils all the time. He might be a little bit of a devil himself, but what the hell? What are you going to do, man? What are you going to want? Santa Claus in the freaking White House? Santa Claus will get turned into a piece of chopped meat by the piranhas. So I think this guy's all right, man. He's all right. Took me a while to get convinced. Because I've never seen, I just don't remember anybody being like him that I knew of. And I respected these other people, and I thought pretty highly of them. But I know they're full of skata, as they say in Greek. Skata. And, they're just constantly freaking putting on an image. And I know Trump's got some of that image, but when you get down to the core, he's legit. And I know people automatically saw that, and I didn't see that. But then maybe they didn't see other things I saw because I noticed some of these people that, man, they just put that philanthropy thing on, and when you know them person to person, they are so nice. But when you work for them, you're a slave, man. How do I know? Because I was the slave, man. That's how I know, man. Freaking God, man, it's ridiculous. So, and I realize how they are, man. They could be super. They can have that, that Santa Claus type smile with the twinkle in their eye while they're making a predatory deal. I'm telling you, like Trump's got his own style. He's a little more upfront, but there's people out there that talk so super polite, and it's like, yeah, man, they are. When you get down to it, man, they know what the hell's going on. And I don't want to say anything about that too much, but that's just how it is. And I don't know, like I always said, I always liked accounting when it was doing construction. Like when you're making something. I don't like numbers just for twiddling numbers. It's bullshit. I like when the numbers mean something's going up and it's going to be there for years and it's going to have, usable equity, some capital that people can use for, office space or manufacturing or living in, right? That type of stuff, or rentals, or whatever the hell it is. So, that's why I always have more respect for these type of people. But I could never jive how he turned 180 degrees from his previous rhetoric on the Clintons. And, now I'm just become convinced his previous rhetoric on the Clintons for those 20 years was just, he was just blowing smoke up their wazoo, man. That's all it was. I was basically right about my basic premise. He is kind of a, slickster BSer, but he's a slickster BSer on the right side. That's the thing. That's the part I didn't pick up on till later on. And that's just my thoughts on Trump. So, over and out. Hope he makes it, man. God. And just be warned, when he does get in office, they're going to pull the plug on the economy, man. The stock market's going to go down. I mean, the whole thing. Just beware. It's not going to be his fault. They're pumping everything up real nice because they want the hill the beast in. When he gets in office, I don't know if it's going to happen immediately or a day after he gets it. If he gets in, he should, if they don't cheat really, really bad and get away with it. Yeah, I know they're going to try to treat really bad. But if he gets in office, I don't know, they're going to crash the hell out of the economy. You see the unemployment stats are going to start saying the real numbers like 20-something%. You're going to see, you're going to see all the horror numbers coming out. You're going to see, and, you're going to smear this on him, like, because he said, let's make America great. And look what Trump's doing. It's going to be like a game almost like, Jackson versus Biddle. Remember Jackson that campaigned against Biddle with the Bank of the United States, the central bank? And people just have to be aware of what's going on. The financial movers in this country are going to do everything they're possible to make Trump look bad. They are. They are, man. They are. And, money doesn't grow on trees, man. So, I mean, unless, of course, it's paper money. Well, even that, it's mainly cotton, so it's not even growing from trees or paper pulp. Anyway, so I think Trump, he's a real deal. Took me a while to figure it out. That's all I got to say.